Hey, what's up guys? Thank you for clicking the video. Today I'm kind of going to be showing the process of the way I draw and if I would have used guidelines, because I'm not really a big fan of guidelines and a lot of people ask me how I draw. And if you've seen the time lapse, I really just put like a cross and I just get straight to it. So I'm going to put it side by side so you can see the difference. It might come out better, I really don't know, but it's just for you guys to see what I do, and I'm gonna explain how proportions really work and how I like using proportions as kind of my own guidelines. But let's get straight to the video. Alright guys, I'm gonna be giving kind of voiceover commentary about the drawing and what I was doing. Alright, so the left side was gonna be my guidelines. I kind of created a box for it, which is where I was gonna put the eye shape in. I actually really like the way that the guidelines helped me set up my eyes. I just kind of got frustrated how I was forcing myself to put certain points in the drawings off the guidelines, if that makes sense. So you're gonna see later on I forced myself to put a nose in a position I don't want to because that circle guideline I created was right there. But definitely was an experience that I want to reach more into, practice more using guidelines and see how it's gonna turn out. So I made the left eye right here a little bit too small. A change that I noticed and I fixed it a little bit. But also I made that line to separate to see how far. On the right side I messed up and I made the eyes a little bit too separate at first and I caught on. But on this I never had that problem because those guidelines helped me keep them close together. The proportions in art are everything. That's what makes your drawings. So this video is gonna help you see what I make mistakes on, and I'm gonna explain how proportions play such a big part. So right here you can see that I made the eyes perfectly symmetrical and they were a good distance and everything was going well at first. The problems I started having were the nose and the mouth and the jaw area on this drawing wasn't working. So right here the face was perfect actually, but I drew the hair too straight down and I couldn't get the jaw to fit correctly, and it just wasn't working out for me. So right here it was just gonna be a little too fat, that it was just gonna be too short. That right there, actually that jaw line could have actually worked, but I just got frustrated and kind of quit on it because I wasn't realizing that it was working out. So on the rest of this time lapse on the left, I really didn't take as much time as I should have and been patient. I was kind of like, look, I'm frustrated. So right there, that jawline is perfect. That's what I need. But once again, I forced myself to put the nose a little too low and it wasn't working out. And I was like, you know what? I rushed it. The mouth could have been better right there. He kind of looked like a bird. And the nose should have been a little higher. It was too low. I was just trying to force it to be there. So the hair, I kind of put that big circle because I see people put a circle there, so they help know the shape of the head and how high it's gonna be. The hair on both sides of the drawing should have been higher. I do fix it on the right side after for the thumbnail. The hair kind of comes out of the border, but right here I make it smaller and it just makes his head kind of look big, and the shape didn't turn out well. Then his kind of dog collar shirt he's got going on, I don't know why they gave that to him in Naruto. It should have been very close to his jaw. I don't know why I made the neck long. It should have been very close to his jaw, kind of giving that visual that he's looking down. And you're just seeing way too much of his shoulders. Drawing was not going well. Guidelines definitely had got to be something I practice with. But now we're gonna go onto the right side and I'm gonna explain to you the process I'm taking and what I'm thinking and why I really don't need guidelines. I do a quick sketch before I start my genuine sketch to kind of get an idea of how his body's working. So if his eyes are, let's say his eyes are close or his eyes are far, where they are located in his face, how are his ears playing, how his hair playing, like I just like this break down the body kind of. So right now you see me doing a very light, quick sketch of just how I want things to look. So I'm noticing that whenever I draw the eyes too far apart, that it's not looking like Sasuke, it's looking more like Sakura. So whenever I come back in my initial sketch, I'm gonna fix that. Also, don't be afraid to erase at all. I think redrawing over and over again to make sure it looks how you want is a big thing, and that took me a while to learn as an artist. I kind of forced myself to go with what I did, and I didn't want to erase because I thought that that made you a worse artist, but that's not true. It's your final product and how you're able to analyze and break stuff down. So here I noticed that I made the eyes too big, and since I made the eyes too big, I forced myself to make the jawline too wide as well. And it did look like Sakura. The whole time I was drawing, I was like, this doesn't look like Sasuke. But I'm noticing that I'm supposed to put the collar close, and I'm like, okay, now that I've done this initial quick sketch, I'm just moving my fingers, they're showing everything. I erase it, and I'm coming back over it again, with kind of a harder pressure point, to properly draw what I want to. So I know I'm supposed to put the eyes close. I didn't need guidelines like the box and the lines to do that. I just fed off of other points. So I know that I'm gonna base the nose and the hairline off of what I'm seeing. So I'm gonna draw the eyes kind of closer, and I'm gonna make sure everything's symmetrical. So I'm like, okay, if I'm drawing the right eye and it's falling here, the left eye is gonna fall in the exact same spot. And that's why I use that straight cross. That's all I really need to make sure that my stuff is coming out symmetrical at that point. So I'm loving how the eyes are turning out. My only problem with the right side that I personally didn't like, I kind of made stuff smaller than the head, so it made the head look larger. But that's something I'm gonna be able to fix in the future by looking back at it. I love the way the eyes came out though, and I knew this time after drawing the left side that the jaw was gonna be a problem for me, but I kind of knew how to attack it since I drew the eyes in the proper motion. But once again, if I didn't really need to do a quick sketch on the left side because those guidelines helped me make sure I kept my eyes together intact. But I'm drawing the hair and I'm taking my time. As to where the left side, I kind of got frustrated, which you can't do, and rush. On the right side, I'm just in my natural state. This is how I normally draw, and I'm comfortable with it. And I'm just feeding off of other positions. So I kind of like drawing vertically down. So I noticed that I have curse marks to help me use my points. Okay, I have this curse mark, and I know it's around the nose area. So the nose wasn't that big. I didn't have to draw it that wide. So the curse mark helped me get that distance point correctly. And I drew the mouth and the little bottom lip, and I like the way it came out, and the jawline came out well too. And it kind of gave me that visual that he's looking down in his pupil, like it's like you're looking down and you're looking up still, and it gives it that anger look. So I really was happy with how the process came out on this one. Then I knew to draw his collar closer to his chin and not make the neck look so long. And the hair fell right at the end of the collar. So everything was working out really good. That line was supposed to be like the shading, but I think I forgot to put that shading under his neck. That's what that line there is for. So the hair, like I said earlier, kind of fell short. Like I forced my hair to finish at the top, but it really didn't need to. It was supposed to go a little taller than that. So right now I'm looking at the bottom of the hair, and I'm like, okay, the bottom of the hair is meeting at the little below his eyes. That's how I draw. I'll be like, okay, this point falls here. I use what I already drew to draw more. So I'm going, okay, the top of the collar is meeting by his eyes. The middle of the collar is meeting around the curse mark, the top of the nose in between, and then the shoulder area is falling by the lips. I use that to have proper proportion so it looks like the actual character itself. So I'm just drawing the rest. There wasn't a lot on the bottom. It kind of faded out. Just put a little bit of shading in there. Finish up the curse marks on the neck. And now I'm going on his hair. I don't need to draw that big circle because I just kind of base it. So that little turn on the left side where it starts to turn upwards, I diagonal that with the eyebrow. And I'm like, okay, this is the point it's supposed to be. And then right here, the hair was supposed to go a little bit higher up, and I forced it to stay low to compress it in. But I noticed his head was just looking a lot larger than his hair. It wasn't fitting him. So I came back later on and fixed it. But hopefully you guys know the process and you guys can go practice, and this helps you a lot and you understand. If you want guidelines, go ahead and practice to use them. Have a good one, y'all.